Is he clean or does he have a girlfriend?
If this is your husband, DM me on Instagram because I have pictures, I have proof, and this was just a very odd thing to see. Stay safe out there, girls.
So I sent that to his girlfriend, and then she left him, and then I blocked him.
And this is why we need that app I just talked about, where we can leave reviews of guys we've dated on Hinge.
The fact that more than one girl in my comments has said, oh, hey, by the way, if you're going to start dating in Dallas, make sure you join the Are We Dating the Same Guy Dallas Fort Worth Facebook page.
As if dating isn't fucking hard enough. I'm like having a fucking out-of-body experience right now. We should all just take a good look in the mirror and like understand like what's happening.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Fiji, like the island, like the water. I really suck at setting boundaries, and I work in social media and marketing.
And I'm your other host, Autumn, like the season. My all-black outfit today very much represents how I feel inside, and I work in entertainment. If you guys are new here, tuning in for the first time to So Wet, So Dry, what we do is we explore duality through deep diving topics about sex, relationships, personal identity, all where internet trends and reality collide. So we post polls for every single episode that we put out, give y'all an opportunity to submit a story, question, what have you. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at So Wet So Dry. The O's are zeros to be a part of that. And whatever you guys are doing right now, please subscribe, follow, whatever platform you're on. Give us a like, drop a comment if you like it and want us to keep going. We would love that. Any way you guys can interact with our content truly is just amazing.
Yes, and today we are talking about the viral Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. We're talking about the controversy, the legal cases. We're going to get into a little bit of internet sleuthing, and we're also going to talk about whisper networks and the Me Too movement just a little bit. But before we get into all of that, we're going to start the episode as we always do, talking about what we're so wet and so dry about in this very moment. So I will go first. I'm so wet because I've been learning how to like clap my ass and like throw it in a circle. My friend Lo, shout out if she's listening, was giving me lessons right before I broke my ankle, but I haven't been able to practice because, you know, my ankle was broken. But while I was getting ready, I just had to, you know, I'm trying it. Like, it's definitely like clapping, like it's moving. It's just not really on rhythm. And Lo was like, you don't have to follow the words. You could just follow like the beat. And I'm like, that's just such a like, yeah. So I'm working on it.
No, bro, but what you sent me looks good. Like, I feel like sometimes like the rhythm can be the hardest part because you're thinking so hard about where your knees gotta be and how your
my
back
legs
is.
go like this because one, I'm like leaning over. I'm doing the one where you lean over so it's like easier and you're like on your toes.
Love that.
But like what
on your toes is so easy.
So much easier. But
and
what
in
I'm
stripper heels.
Is like shorter than me. So it's like my legs look funny because they're so long.
Right.
So I need a better like mount.
No, I swear, like, I feel like I can do it pretty good. Like, when there's a pole, I have something to hold on to, and it's just all that energy. But in terms of, like, me going to the club and, like, doing it, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Just, like, freehanded.
And I get tired so quick. Like,
I know, it's a huge workout, bitch. Yeah. Well, I love that for you. I definitely want to practice, too, honestly. I'm so wet because my mom's visiting this weekend. I'm just excited to see her. She does like live in Boston, but a big part of her work is based in California. So it's for work, but like she's coming to stay with me and I'm just so excited. Miss her. And yeah, it's going to be literally just healing and amazing. And
You're going to go out to eat. That's so fun when they cover the check.
And I'm like, Mom, can you take me to like the grocery store?
Yes. Like they love to pick up supplies and make sure you're good. Like when I had first moved to not to Atlanta, but like to my condo, like my mom was visiting and I was low-key stressed, but she made me go to a thrift furniture store and get furniture. And I'm like, thank God she
That's
did
what
that.
they do.
Because I wouldn't have, like, she's so, like, smart. Shout out to moms.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so dry. This is like kind of like random and niche, but I've been like scrolling on Instagram, looking at all the little like articles, whatever. And I came across one from Days that's about this new AI invented by a woman that is called the Angry Girlfriend, and it's supposed to teach men how to develop empathy. So it simulates an angry girlfriend, and they have to like respond, and it's like gamifying it to like make them get points. And I want to know how you feel about this, because I'm kind of on the fucking fence, because I'm like, in one sense, people learn different ways. Could it help? Could it be used in health classes for like younger people, like whatever? But in the other sense, is it teaching them manipulation? I don't know. It's invented by a woman. I'm confused. What do you think?
I know. It's like it's invented by a woman, but unfortunately it's like doesn't even matter, you know, sometimes. But I think based on where we're at right now, can't hurt, honestly.
Right.
I don't think it could hurt. Like, if they're like taking it OD seriously, like maybe just like look at it like an AI thing and like learn a little bit from it. That shouldn't be like your one tool to learn how to communicate with women, but like better than nothing in my opinion.
And I could see men wanting to do that more than like read a self-help book. So I'm like,
right. Exactly. So yeah, I'm fine with it, but we'll see like where it goes.
Yeah.
Like, is this relatively new? Like it just
it's
came
pretty
out?
new. And I'm also afraid that they're training the AI to be like sentient because like, you know, like it doesn't have emotions, but it's learning emotional responses. I don't know. It's scary.
That's so scary, dude. Oh my God. That scares me more than the crazy girlfriend. It's just the AI becoming more like a human. Yeah, I'm so dry. Definitely like something niche as well. Like you guys know, I love my fixation. So moved on from Alabama Rush, and now it is toxic moms on TikTok exploiting their children.
Like dance moms?
Exactly. Something similar like that. But it's like these mommy and me TikTok accounts where like they make money off of their kids.
Yes. Okay. Like
and there's like
moms. Okay.
So it's like the family channels, the boy moms. I mean, it's so much, dude. But it just like it's so disheartening that like this is what's like this came with TikTok, and like as a society, like we're letting these children be exploited. It's like they'll literally like hashtag toddler bath time, and like there's like millions of predators on the internet that like will go to like, you know what I mean?
And they're monetizing their children before they have any like
So I found this new amazing, I'm literally gonna pull it up because I want to give her a shout out. I just think she's so great. It's Kiki channel. And she's just this woman, and she's just been covering it and being like, this should not be a thing anymore. So many people are covering it, but I just like the way she's very relatable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just fucking crazy. And that's what made me like text my mom this morning and just thank her for like prioritizing my safety, because these parents like really care more about money than their kids. And it's like horrifying. So that's my 2 cents. I'm fucking dry as fuck about it. But yeah, I almost wanted to be like, and I'm confused about, but that's the end segment.
At the end of the episode.
So yeah, let's get into this topic, you guys. As Fiji said, we are going to be kind of breaking down these Facebook groups. Are we dating the same guy? Sleuthing, like researching someone before you go on a date. We're going to touch on the Me Too movement and all of that. So it's going to be a big one, guys. Just sit down, buckle your seatbelts, and get fucking ready, okay?
Yes.
We're going to start with, you know, how much sleuthing we do before dates and everything. So we asked you guys, when you are planning to go on a date with someone, do you do research on them? For example, stalking social media, asking people who may know them, Googling their record, etc. 79% of y'all said yes, and only 21% of y'all said no. And I feel like with all the access we have to research on people, this makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary. I wonder if people have done research on me before and shit, you know?
Definitely. Like, people, we know when we had, well, I don't have dating apps anymore, but you did. People definitely listen to the podcast, which is a little...
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
A little iffy. But yeah, and then we wanted to know what you guys are usually looking for when you're doing this sleuthing before going on a date with someone. And the one that won was I just want to learn more about them at 44%. Close behind at 31%, we have I want to make sure I would be safe with them. And then right behind it at 25%, we have I want to make sure they are who they say they are, no catfishes, no scams. And 0% said I want to know their dating history. Now, this one was a little tricky because we did want to put / if they're dating other people, like if they're single, but like it cut off on Instagram, so we weren't able to ask that. I wonder if it would have been different.
Yeah. I think what this says to me is the majority of people are worried about safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's like if we worded it different, maybe, but I do think it's less about their dating history, like in terms of our listeners, not in terms of like the Facebook groups. But because it's like they are who they say they are. You know, I'll feel safe with them, learn more about them. Like, I think it's a big thing about safety and like, you know, if anything's been out about them that would make them feel unsafe, you know?
Yeah, like definitely people like, I don't do it as much anymore, like unless I'm like definitely going, well, I guess, I don't know, because I'll do research on like Hinge dates before, like just make sure they don't have crazy political leanings, like look at their like Instagram, like, you know, confirm they're a real person, or if we have mutuals, because sometimes I don't want to match with people if we have too many mutuals. It's weird, I don't know. But I have like Googled people's records before and stuff like that online too.
Yeah, I've never Googled anyone's record. I also do think that like, and I don't know if this matters, but it's like, again, like I've mostly just had romantic things with like women and stuff. So it's like a little bit different. Like I feel like, honest to God, like the research I would do on them is just like to see more of what they look like and like videos of them. Like it was less about that, but it's sad that I never looked up my like ex-boyfriends. Like I definitely should have Googled his name, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's good practice because I've said it before in the podcast, but I did have a situation where I was seeing a guy like somewhat consistently and he had lied about what his real name was and what his record was. I knew he had a record, but not the extent of that record. I thought it was like a non-violent like scamming crime, which there was one of those, but there was also a sketchier one. So okay, so going off of that, women are clearly afraid a little bit of dating men, and this shows up in this recent TikTok trend that we saw, so we're going to play that TikTok now.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Bear. Men are scary. With a bear.
Well, I've heard about bears. They don't always attack you, right? Unless you like fuck with them. So maybe a bear.
Depends what man, but probably a bear.
100% a bear, which is like terrifying to say, but
definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there.
A bear. I would say a man.
If you're a man watching this right now, please let this be the fucking wake up call, because that right there is like actually terrifying for women to say that they'd rather be alone with a bear instead of your bitch ass.
Right.
That's scary. And my other best friend, my roommate, I live with her, she's chronically on TikTok as well. And she literally asked me the other day, like, would you rather be with a man or a bear? Not even knowing it was like a trend video. I was like, oh, a bear, because like you make loud noises. Like I know how to get rid of it. Men, you can't really get rid of as easily.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I thought of it like my instant thought was like, I don't know why, but I was like, bears are like cute and like cuddly and they could be more
bitch.
like
they could kill
my
you.
dog. I know they could, but I'm like, it could be a nice bear. Like, you know what I was saying? Like teddy bear?
There are
like,
some bears on TikTok that like are nice
like
to
the
humans.
little, have you seen the woman on TikTok that has little bear cubs?
Yes, bitch. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
So that's what I was thinking versus men are more unpredictable. But I also saw other TikToks where women were asking their husbands this about their daughters. They would like, would you rather have our daughter be in the forest with a man or a bear? And the men were saying a bear too.
No, that's even worse. That's like, even fucking worse. That's crazy, bro. Because it's like, I'm a man, so I know how we think. That's what they always say.
Yes.
That's psychotic behavior. My dad definitely gave that growing up. Like, he didn't want me around.
Same.
Fuck.
Same.
Dude.
So, yeah,
That's
this
depressing.
just goes to show that women are afraid of dating men, and for good reason. Not just dating them, but being around them in general, which is a little sad because, you
would
know,
rather
not
be
all
with
men,
the bear.
Right. Not
you guys
all
can
men
go
are
to sleep at
scary.
night? Yeah.
But now I want to talk a little bit about the Me Too movement and Whisper Network. So essentially, we're going to get into the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook groups, but there's history behind them, and it kind of starts with Whisper Networks and the Me Too movement.
Okay.
So according to Wikipedia, a whisper network is an informal chain of information passed privately between people, typically women. It consists of gossip about people in a community, frequently a professional community, alleged of being sexual harassers or abusers. The information is often shared between women by word of mouth or online in private communities, forums, spreadsheets, and crowdsourced documents. The stated purpose of maintaining these lists is to warn potential victims of people to avoid in their industry. Whisper networks also supportedly help victims identify a common abuser and come forward together about a serial abuser.
The term Whisper Network was newly popularized during the Me Too movement after several private lists were published outside of private networks. Among the published lists were the Shitty Media Men list and the California State Capitol list and the Harvey Weinstein Google Doc. Karen Kelsky created a less controversial list about men in academia called Sexual Harassment in the Academy, a crowdsourced survey which had grown to over 2,000 entries by the end of 2017. It includes stories without actually naming the accusing and accused parties. Kelsky said she hoped the list would help demonstrate the scope of sexual misconduct in the academic field, and it has resulted in the investigation of 12 men at the University of Michigan. So damn, this is like how it all started.
Yeah, so essentially Whisper networks date back so far in time, like before Me Too even, and they kind of serve this purpose of like, you know, academic like universities, where you work. The law enforcement does not always protect women from abusers, even when they do report it. So women kind of got together to inform other women about these abusers so that they could stay safe and aware. And there's also been some controversy, which I just want to like also touch on with these Whisper networks, especially Me Too. So they have come under fire for leaving out like Black women and women of color, like predominantly women. So even though, again, like feminists for women, not all women are always included in these docs.
Right.
So Black women have created their own as well. And then also, so I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking a lot about like strippers and sex workers, because I had listened to Horrible Decisions, Double D's episode featuring Daniela Carter and Dominique Silver. So they're two trans sex workers that had a documentary come out on Hulu called Kokomo City, and it's about like the trans Black sex worker experience, and they talked about a lot of the violence that they go through. And they're very like low key about sharing their contacts and stuff like that, because like a lot of these men are DL and like they're powerful men. So there is that risk there. But because of the violence and so many lives lost, they did talk a little bit about like sharing things like that. And also in the show, The Girlfriend Experience, which I watched on Amazon, it's about like a woman who becomes an escort while she's also like living a double life, like being a lawyer. She worked with a madame who had like kind of vetted these clients before meeting them, which is why a lot of people, you know, either have like pimps or a madam or something, because they have like a history. And if they're an abuser, then they won't work with them, like whatever. So like there's other public platforms before this that women have used in the sex work space, which I think is like very important. And then it also goes into, you know, corporate and everything like that.
Wow, dude. And I just want to say too, it's always like it's such a consistent thing for like a movement to start, and then people of color having to like make their own. Like that's just always like a thing. And I just like wanted to say, like, I just like, that's so horrible. Like I hate that. But yeah, I really need to watch that documentary. It's crazy. It's like at an academic level, at an interpersonal level, and then sex workers come into it. And then it's also like celebrities, like with Harvey Weinstein. It's like, there's so much to this, and it's kind of interesting to think about, like, this, like, deep-rooted, like, systemic shit is, like, kind of, like, I don't know exactly, but if it is, like, a big cause of, like, these, like, kind of superficial, like, Facebook groups, because, like, this shit is, like, real, and, like, I, like, stand for that, you know?
Yeah, see that's kind of what we're going to get into, like the connection between, I think that a lot of the Facebook groups, Are We Dating the Same Guy, stem from like the Me Too movement and how so many things were talked about and popularized online. But it gets a little iffy because this is strictly about abusers versus the Facebook groups are like a little bit different, which we're going to talk more about in a minute. But even with these whisper networks, they come under fire a lot for just being gossip, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And so we asked you guys, how do you feel about forms of whisper network like lists of abusers? And 91% said they are necessary to keep people safe, and only 9% said they are just gossip and drama. I'm going to be real. I think that I voted for their just gossip and drama. This was before I had done all the research on the episode, but it's because, and I thought about like reaching out to people in Atlanta about this. Like there is a list in Atlanta. Like I'm very like in the underground scene. Yeah, there is a list in Atlanta of abusers, sexual, domestic, like anything really.
It's an extremely long.
It's a very long list. And I want to like preface this by saying there is definitely abusers in the underground, and there's definitely people who deserve to be locked up. There's women who have gone through like terrible things, all of that. I do not personally know the person who created this list, or like, you know, anyone who's like advocated to have someone be added on it. But I have been aware of a lot of like drama surrounding the list, and personal people that I know being like, maybe they should be put on it because of like girl fights or disagree, like just things that I don't personally think account for being on the list. And I also want to say, like, I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. So like, me personally, like I did have law enforcement involved, didn't always want it, but I never took it online. And I don't want to say like, so I think I'm a little bit jaded because of my own experience and because of my own desire to keep things private, that like to me the thought of like ruining his name online was more terrifying than just like dealing with it internally. So it's a little complicated. I understand, like, I don't know, like I've been at parties where I've had other girls be like, oh, you need to watch out for him. And it's been helpful, you know, because you really don't know. They're like, oh, he's on the list. So I'm like iffy about it. Like I really don't know where I stand.
Yeah, it's like but then you had like what I experienced like with trying to like suck dick in the bathroom, and those girls were like, don't do it. But it's like he wasn't, you know what I mean? So it's like
Well, explain that more, because I don't think that, like, if they're listening for the first time, they might not know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like it gets wishy-washy. Like this, like, it wasn't, I was sucking dick in the bathroom in Atlanta because I was having a good time and I was enjoying myself and I was embracing my sexuality. I was horny. And, like, a bunch of Fiji's, like, friends that some of them were not really cool with anymore, but they, like, were knocking on the door trying to get me out because they thought that this man was, like, using me and taking advantage of me. Little did they know I was running the whole show.
Right.
So, like, that's, like, okay, but that's different than someone coming up to you at a party and being like, he's on the list. You know, but that's the thing. It's, like, it sucks that, like, something like this that, like, should be there to keep people safe. It's like we do have to question it, especially if you don't know who made the list. And just like Fiji said, like, without a doubt, there are abusers on that list. And it's like there are a lot of men are abusers and predators, unfortunately. And it's just, like, not just in Atlanta, like, everywhere. So that's why it's, like, believable. It's like that's a long-ass list, but it's, like, it's probably all true. But the part about, you know, girl fights and, like, different types of, like, you know, things that you do kind of want to protect people from, but at the same time, that's very different than, like, you know, being an actual predator abuser.
Well, because they would also add enablers to the list. So, like, for example, if you had hung out with someone who was on the list, you would become, like, an enabler on the list. Like, and things like that. And, like, again, like, with my own experience, I could be, like, clouded in it, and, like, healing from trauma and all of those things. I don't believe there's any right way to do it. I think like the best way would be to go to law enforcement, but like I personally didn't do that in my situation. Like law enforcement was involved like kind of against my will at times, but I just veer more towards the side of like you should involve law enforcement before you bring it online. Like if you are so able, if you do that, if you bring it up at your college, if you bring it up with law enforcement and nothing happens, then bring it online. But I think bringing it to the court of public opinion before trying to do anything systematically is a little iffy.
Yeah, because I think it's like you're exactly like you said, like everyone's going to deal with things differently. And I think like you not, publicly posting about your experience and quote unquote warning other women, like that doesn't mean like you're not feminist and like you didn't like do your job.
Yeah.
Because you do see a lot of people publicly out like speaking about it, but that's hard to do. That's not easy.
But I do
There's a
think
lot
like it is a little iffy because like in mine it was an intimate relationship. Say you're a girl who was, SA'd at like a party or something, and then you see this person consistently at a party with other girls that you know, and you want to make them aware and make sure they're safe. Like I think if I saw more, like my abuser or whatever does not live in this state anymore.
Yeah, like
he's not
was
around.
gone.
So like, so it's like, it's easier for me to like separate myself from it. But like,
that's so true.
Yeah, I just want to like with the Atlanta list. Again, I don't know the person that created it. Like, I don't know enough about it. I'm not from Atlanta. I've only been in the scene for, like, about a year. So, like, a lot of it is hearsay and, like, whatever for me. But at the same time, I'm always going to believe, like, women's experiences. And I do want, like, justice for them. I just think that we have to, like, walk a fine line and be careful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so next I want to get into a little bit about gossip and if it's feminist.
I love this.
Because, like we said, like, is it just gossip and drama? And even the Wikipedia article said it consists of gossip about people in a community. So I found this article. It's actually like a academic essay. It's by Maria Verena Peters, and it's called From the Whisper Network to #MeToo, Framing Gender Gossip and Sexual Harassment. And we are going to return to this article again at the end. But this part just says the label gossip, when applied to a woman or women's talk, is understood as a discursive weapon of the patriarchy to disparage bonds women may form. To sum it up, gossip works against women in two ways. Quote, gossip, as a label for women's talk, functions as a strategy to silence women. It denounces or prevents communication amongst women in public discourse. Assigning this label to their statements is a weapon used against women to discredit them both in the media and in the courtroom. Before #MeToo, women who spoke up against harassment were thus simultaneously denounced as gossip and, paradoxically, also made into objects of gossip.
Damn, bro, that's crazy. I feel like the part that like hit home for me was like it's like a weapon used against women to discredit them both in the media and the courtroom. It's like you think about where gossip come from. Like I very much do think of the media, like growing up, like seeing like TV characters
tabloids,
gossip and like Mean Girls and tabloids and all that shit. And it's like, but I also feel like gossiping is like bonding for women a lot of the time.
Yes.
And I don't know why that is, but like, I mean, guys, like I love to gossip, like genuinely. I love to. People can gossip about me.
And it's a survival mechanism. Like,
yeah, but it's like, why?
I didn't bring any of that research in here because like I wanted to try to keep it as focused as I could, but like gossip is a survival mechanism, like going back in history to like keep people safe from like, lions or like whatever the fuck. So like it makes sense, and I think it is a tool when the systems are not in your favor. Like you have to like inform other women and keep other women safe. So like I think it's like important when we say like, oh, that's just gossip, or oh, that's just like hearsay, like whatever, to be like careful. Because, and that's the sad part. Like a lot of women have brought this up in court, tried to bring it to court, tried to bring it to law enforcement, their school, their work, whatever.
And it was labeled as gossip. And I don't believe you.
Exactly. And like, again, like trauma, people don't always just go get a rape kit immediately after. Like there's a whole process you have to go through. Like,
and
again,
it's like the he said,
reindeer.
she said is like a different way of saying gossip also.
Yeah, and then that's what they love to use against women in court and everything like that. And then also defamation, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Like men love to claim defamation in defense of these kind of accusations, whatever. So all of that to say, now we're going to get into these Facebook groups that are trending online. And I want to first read from this article that says, the community, which began with the very specific intention of helping women verify whether their romantic prospects were seeing other people, was started in March 2022. Nearly every major U.S. city has a similar group now, and the rules for all are clear. Anyone has the right to post anonymously. No doxing or posting sensitive information, and under no circumstances can screenshots leave the group. No bullying, no victim blaming, no hate speech. Never tell a man he's been posted in the group. And just before we talk about it, real quick, this kind of comes, I think, out of some fear that like manifested on TikTok as well, with all these TikToks where women were trying to figure out like if a man's cheating, because you know they were hearing so many stories about men aren't loyal, da 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 da. So we're gonna watch these two TikToks real quick, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Right, but wait, let me just say though, because I'm like, the rules that they have on these groups are no screenshotting and no telling a man he's in the group. How the fuck do you think you can maintain that?
You can't.
That is a crazy rule to even write and think that that shit's not going to happen. Like, that's delusional. And it's also shocking that it started in March 2022. Like, I don't know if it's the Matrix, but I feel like it's been, like, going on forever. And I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about it, honestly. But yeah, let's watch the TikToks.
I cannot believe the sequence of events I just witnessed on this flight that I was just on. If your husband's name is Brian with a Y, and he was traveling today from Orlando, MCO, to Chicago O'Hare on Thursday, March 14th, the flight was around 2:15 p.m. He sat next to me, and the second that he sat down in the seat, he downloaded the Hinge app and created a Hinge profile. And the best part was he was selecting photos from a photo album on his phone titled Dating Apps. He was in a burgundy t-shirt, like a dark red t-shirt, light gray sweatpants, and white on-cloud running sneakers that were really dirty, and his backpack was black, and it was the Razor brand. He's like a little scruffy, had some like grays in his beard over here, very like large and in charge gentleman, very attractive. He wears a black watch on his right wrist and a silver wedding band on his left ring finger, and I'll put a picture of it right here. And he FaceTimed his wife, who I would guess is his wife, and his child when they landed, and said that he would call them when he got to the hotel. If this is your husband, DM me on Instagram because I have pictures, I have proof, and this was just a very odd thing to see. And stay safe out there, girls.
Is he clean or does he have a girlfriend? Is he clean or does he have a girlfriend? I think he has a... What the... You're kidding. You're actually kidding. Like, that's a girlfriend. This is not real.
Someone needs to get that first bitch on like the FBI team, because that was a little bit much for me. I feel like you and I definitely do have some differing like opinions on this. Like,
yeah,
I get that like that's really unfortunate that like that husband is doing that, but why the fuck is that your job to fix? Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, you're gonna like literally break apart this family. Like, I don't know. Like,
see, it comes off the heels of like true crime being such a popular category, I think, for like women. And then there was it Gabby, whatever, that had disappeared, and like so many people tried to find her on TikTok. Like, I think that's
because it was a white girl also, because how many black women have disappeared?
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I think people love to like, and then I also watched that next Netflix film about like the cat abuser or something
and
like
they
that.
love to follow. Oh, the cat abuser.
Yeah.
Please don't. Oh my
It
God.
was like, so like there has come some good out of internet sleuthing, but things like this, like if you guys listen to our girl code episode, like we are very much of the mindset where it's like, like let her find out. Maybe she fucking knows the woman, but
if
like
that's your
not
best
your
friend,
business.
it's different.
It's different.
But that's
like,
a whole stranger, bro. Like, I just personally think that that's too fucking much. I do. And I don't think I'm a bad woman because of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy how popular it is because, like, I've ended up, like, these just popped up in my timeline, both of them, without really looking for them because I'm in a lot of sex and relationships topics on TikTok for the podcast. So it's kind of, like, crazy to me, and I feel like it also creates this, like, mass fear about, like, oh, your man could be cheating. Like, it's not only the searching and the doxing, which we're going to get into a little bit later, how dangerous that can be.
Right.
Because you're putting a stranger's business out there.
Yeah.
And, like,
the
making
child,
them
like,
vulnerable.
she was like, he FaceTimed you and your kid. It's like, don't talk about the kid. Like, and I also just think, like, it's just, you don't know people's intentions online. Because at the end of the day, that video blew up. She knew exactly what the fuck she was doing. Like, does she really care about that family? Or did she want to just hop on this true crime thing? We don't know. Yeah. I do think that the cleaning video, like, definitely pisses me off less. Like, I feel that, like, especially, like, with my last partner. Like,
it's kind of funny. Like, everyone in the comments was like, oh, he has a rich girlfriend because those products are, like, good or, like, whatever.
Right.
But it's still, like, it brings me to think because, like, I've had some talks with, like, guy friends recently and also, like, girls as well that I think, like, I have very different opinions on. I mean, different opinions then.
Yeah.
And I've been in this mentality before. I had an ex that cheated on me, and I remember, like, psychotically watching his stories, looking for people in the background, like, doing all of that toxic shit. But I'm very much of the mentality of, like, what you don't know doesn't hurt you, and the universe will bring it into my mind if it's meant to be. I do not want to drive myself crazy and ruin my own day over, like...
no,
like, my full-time job is not to, like, be a detective, you know?
Yeah.
Like, maybe put those gifts somewhere else.
I know. Like, I just think it's too fucking much, and I don't think it's as feminist as y'all fucking think it is. Like... I really don't. I think it's way too much. Like, please leave that woman alone. Maybe she already knows. How fucking stupid would you? Maybe she already knows.
Right. And
but you're just like out here, let me save her. Like, sit the fuck down, bitch.
And
like,
you're inviting everyone to come comment on
it. No, it's like posting his hand. I mean, I'm sure he's a piece of shit. Like, I'm sure he is, but like, it's too much. Like, y'all need to delete TikTok off your phone, some of you. Like,
and touch some grass.
I'm like on one today. Like, this shit pisses me off, Fiji.
Yeah, it's a lot. Trust me. I knew this was going to be a good one. So kind of going off of this and bringing it back to the Facebook groups. The difference between the Facebook groups, I think, is kind of more like that second TikTok where it's like women asking,
yes,
have you seen this man? Anything like that. So we did ask you guys like for feedback about these groups, and we had one listener story submit. I'm in a whole group called Is This Your Man ATL Edition on Facebook, and you best believe I'm posting that man on there before I even meet up with him because ain't no way I'm gonna be caught lacking. And it's so funny because I had joined this group for like research. Most of the men in the group,
did you know any of them?
No, they're like 45 plus. Like,
oh shit.
I like, maybe I'll include some screenshots with like, well, no, I'm not gonna
no, bitch, no, we're gonna get in trouble, no.
But a Hoots video, like, which I'm gonna talk about after, she did put screenshots, but she like blurred names and she like covered faces for pictures.
See, exactly what y'all rules talking about now.
Right. But like, I think there is like this fear that comes out of this, like, oh, it's so embarrassing. Like, if your man does cheat on you, you don't want to be caught lacking, like whatever. So people go to these groups to like protect themselves and like make sure that this isn't happening. So like I said, I watched Hoots.
But it's also like, sorry, but it's like, it's embarrassing for the guy. Like, I get that it's embarrassing. Like, you feel like that as a woman, that it's like, damn, like, that's embarrassing. But like, we need to stop because no, you didn't do anything wrong, babe. Like, I get this. I get it. It's like, they don't want to get hurt. I get it. But it's just like, it looks more on them. Like, who cares?
And it's also like, I believe in like, and this is help from therapy, like trust in your power to like be able to get over things when they like happen. Like going through someone cheating on you can be traumatic for like a lot of people. And
trust in your intuition. Like you don't need Facebook. Like just go meet up with this person. Like honestly, because like my ex, like, you know, didn't really cheat on me, but like broke our boundaries in our open relationship. Like it's helped me be like with his new bitch, there's no way he's not cheating on her.
Yeah.
0, -5%. He doesn't still have bitches in his phone. And that makes me feel better. Sue me. But it fucking does, bitch. So
yeah, because like once a cheater, always a cheater. And like I think that's a big like trend on this too. Like women will post someone and someone might be like, oh, they cheated on me. But my mentality is still a little bit like, that doesn't necessarily going to mean that they're going to cheat on the next person. Like they do have the ability to heal. And like, I don't look at cheating as like, as abusive as like domestic violence, sexual assault, like all of those
right.
things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It sucks, but it's also, this is the human experience. Like non-monogamy, like that's a whole thing that we're like dealing with right now. Like, yeah, exactly that, bitch. Like you can handle being cheated on. Like way shit worse is happening to people.
Right, exactly. But there is some other stuff in the Facebook group. So I watched Hoot's video on YouTube. Shout out to her. She has a lot of really good video essays as well. Definitely check her out. But the video is all about, you know, the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. And she pretty much breaks up these groups into 6 different categories of posting. So the 6 different categories that she says are outing cheaters, seeking dating advice. So being like, oh, like I'm in this situation. What do you guys think I should do? Warning about catfishing and scams, venting and jokes about dating, like memes and stuff like that, T or red flag, like someone might like post someone and put like the T emoji or the like red flag and with question marks and be like any T, any red flags, just like wondering information about them. And then the last one, which is kind of going back to those whisper networks, is warning about SA, abuse, violence, or was this SA? Domestic abuse, violence, which I think is really sad and interesting. Like some women have these experiences where they're not quite sure, so they seek these groups as like a therapeutic way to work through their trauma.
That's so fucking real, yeah.
And like that's why I do believe in these groups to an extent, because I do think like group therapy and like learning from other people's experiences can be healing. Like our last episode about, you know, like strippers and celibacy, I think it was really helpful to hear other women's responses. But there's a range. There is such a fucking wide range.
I feel like that last category was like the warning about SA abuse and like, is this like, I feel like we need a safe space for that. Like we do need like some sort of, but it's just like hard when it comes to credibility. Like there are some women out there that would okay, maybe I shouldn't say
no,
but not they would lie about something that happened to them, but they would be so mad like at a man and like don't want any other bitches to date them that I could see them like kind of embellishing in that group. And so
there's
you just
definitely
can't believe
things like that. Like I saw on some of the posts and like the screenshots that Hoots shared as well, like there will be someone asking for tea or something and someone will share like a certain experience that you're kind of like, is it that bad? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, say I dated this guy, super terrible for me, but like, maybe we were just incompatible or something like that. But she, like, I have a lot of hate towards him because like it came at a bad time, like whatever, like things like that where it's a little bit iffy.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
And this is why it just goes back to like one of the things that Hoots shared a lot, like consistently, like at the end she shared a story that she had about abuse and how she had a system fail for her in her working environment and it caused her to leave her job. And that's why like these groups are so like important in a sense, because the system is failing us. But again, like there's it becomes messy when we're blurring these lines.
And I think when anything's online, it's going to be messy because you just don't fucking know. But I do think that, like, is it all bad? No, absolutely not. Like, I think that there are real, genuine people posting in those groups, like, warning other people, like, wanting people to be safe. Maybe it's the majority of that. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, you can just never, like, the online world is just, you can never really know who's behind that keyboard. You don't know.
And I think, like, the one time I would see it be, like, more, like, useful, like, we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but you know the "Who the fuck did I marry" story, which I didn't watch the entire TikTok, but, like, there were, like, all these red flags, like, whatever. Like, if you're dating someone long-term where you have these suspicions, like, you've seen things, like, whatever, and you're, like, married or something, and you, like, really want to know, like, you're in a long-term relationship, I can see this being a thing because you're, like, at that point where you're ready to know. But the difference, I think, is a lot of these women are just going on there for, like, first time meeting this guy or, like, a guy they might go on a date with, and it's almost like you're having this, like, warped perception of this guy too early before meeting him. That's a little too much, you know?
I know. It's like I know, because I really do think that, like abusers are abusers, point, like, blank fucking period. Like, honestly, they don't deserve second chances.
Yeah.
But a guy that just, like they weren't incompatible and, like, he was maybe kind of annoying, like, he doesn't deserve to be, like, wrecked in that Facebook group.
Yeah.
But I also just want to be so careful. Like, I don't want you guys to think that it's like I'm not believing women.
Right. And that's why it's so hard to talk about, because
it
is scary because, again, like, the system, like, it's so hard because, like, both of us are so much for women. And
I believe men when they talk about abuse as well. Like, I believe all survivors that talk about that. But I'm just saying that, like, I can see how this shit would, like, kind of go to an unhealthy level, even though, like, maybe it was created in pure intentions and all of that. Because when you make it so widespread and everyone has access to it, like, it's never going to be perfect. Like, it's never going to be.
Yeah. So I want to get into next, like, this 7th category, which I found, which is loyalty testing. And I think this started on TikTok. So that article, Glamour, that we mentioned before in the beginning, says loyalty testing long-term boyfriends. That is the practice of sending other women to tempt them on social media. And this has also become super common. So I've seen a lot of these TikToks as well. It's not just women. I've come across, like, there was one I saw from a guy that had, like, 5 million views. So the guys are doing this too.
Why would anyone put themselves through that? Just break up with them if you're so fucking worried.
I did this in, like, middle school, but I'm like, if you're grown, like, let's
come on, dude.
Take a deep fucking
breath. There's
breath.
people on TikTok where that's their whole brand. That's all that they do. It's not like they just do it once. It's everything.
And they make money off of it, and that's who we're gonna talk about. So Trinity K, I don't know how to say it, but she has 530 plus K followers on TikTok. And I can't remember if her specifically, like, asked for money, but, like, the guy definitely did. He was like, you know, send me $20, whatever, and I'll do this for you. So, you know, get your bag, sis, but, like, also a little scary. So let's watch this TikTok.
So this girl messaged me on Lazo and asked me to DM her boyfriend. So I said, I feel like I saw you in a show before. And he said, highly unlikely, LOL, do we know each other? I said, I think it was at the place where your show was at. And he said, that's possible, where at? And then the girlfriend messaged me and said, it's okay, he told me about it, so he passed. So we were both happy, we thought he passed, and I forgot to block him. And then he messaged me the next day and said, so what made you hit me up? I sent it to the girlfriend and she was like, yeah, keep it going. So I said, honestly, I just thought you were super cute. He said, oh, dang, too bad you don't stay in Atlanta. I said, I don't, but I'm always there visiting family. He said, when do you visit next? I said, I'm actually driving right now so I can be there for Thanksgiving. He said, well, if you get bored and want a link, I'm always down, LOL. I said, I'd love to. What'd you have in mind? He said, maybe a dinner or a drink. We can always do an activity. Just let me know when and I can see what's open. And I said, I'd love that. So I sent that to his girlfriend and then she left him and then I blocked him.
Like, I can see how bitches think that they're doing, like, God's work through this.
Yeah.
Like, yep, I blocked him. I sent it to his girlfriend, ended that relationship. Like, I'm like, and, like, guys are way too like, they're so fucking easy. It's disgusting. And I don't want to ignore that.
I'm like, I don't know if she does this off a different account, but I'm like, he could look at her TikTok and know what she's doing. Like, all it takes is a little bit of research. Like, these guys are dumb, and it is kind of sad to watch it happen because it makes you think, oh my God, would my man do this? Oh my God, whatever.
Yeah, and the way she says it with no remorse, and I sent it to the girlfriend, and then they broke up, and yeah, and then I got paid $3,000 from this video. Like, that's psychopath. No shade to her, but damn, like, I guess maybe this is like the millionth video she done, so she don't feel bad anymore about like any type of, but like, wow. I'm just like, I would never, like, I will literally like not look at people's stories to protect myself. I would never have a fucking bitch reach out to my man to see what happens. Oh, it's just a fun little game. Break up with him if you feel like he's gonna fucking...
Right. Like, pay attention to your own mental health in this stuff too, because it's like, why, like, you are setting him up. Like, this is a version of like literally setting him up. Like, it's entrapment, kind of, like, not to get deep, but it's like,
and this girl goes to fucking bed at night like so happy that she's broken like hundreds and hundreds of relationships up, and it's like, oh well, I did it because I caught them. And like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous, but I feel you on the entrapment. However, I want to be very careful because like guys always get the pass. Oh, well, like if a woman comes up to them, it's like, well, he's a guy. Like, of course he's going to want to flirt.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. No, that's not what I mean. But this is entrapment. Like, this is like, have a conversation with your fucking boyfriend. Like, please.
Like, clearly there's like signs that like you haven't developed trust, or like maybe you're not even like completely like solid yet. Like, maybe you're in a situationship, like they said boyfriend in this one, but it's like, I don't know, like I feel like we're like skipping out on the work that it takes to build a relationship and skipping right to this. And
right.
Also, I'm kind of the mindset that I don't think cheating always has to break relationships. Like, the relationship could be rocky. Things could happen. Not just like, I don't want to manifest any cheating.
But we're also kind of like slightly non-monogamy hoes.
Yes,
girly.
Exactly. Like, I want to like leave space to also not shame women who stay with someone who cheated on them and things like that.
Fuck
like,
no.
Because the whole girl leave him language and all of that is so prevalent in these groups. And it's kind of that girl code of like, respect yourself, like do better, da 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 da, and it's a fine.
Yeah, and it's like feeling bad for a woman because she stayed and like he cheated on her. Like, we need to stop doing that. Like, you don't know her life. Like, why are we feeling bad for her? Like, maybe everything's great. Maybe
she could have gone to therapy. Maybe she had done things in the past. Like, we don't know.
Exactly. Like, y'all think you know. And honestly, I think I'm a little bit angry because of the mommy blogger TikTok. Like, I'm kind of anti-TikTok right now because I'm honestly like second guessing every creator I've ever fucking seen, because it's just like, at the end of the day, they're doing this for a job. Like, and it's like Drew Afualo, like she started doing it when it wasn't a job. Like, she made all those videos, so like she is excluded from this.
I mean, us
Love
too,
you, Drew.
even like, we don't get, right now, transparency, we don't get any money. We have had a brand deal.
Yeah, we're losing money, guys.
We're literally losing money.
But that's how much we love to talk about this shit.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, maybe this girl, this is really what she's passionate about. This is what the change she wishes to see in the fucking world. I feel like people are being like seduced by capitalism to be like, oh, like this is how relationships should be, like da da da. And it's like, no, like, again, back to connection, building relationships take work, like all of those things, like a quick fix and a quick got 'em. Internet sleuthing, true crime, like we need to stop taking in too much content. Yeah.
I know. It's like, honestly, it's like, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, when I first saw one of those loyalty test videos, like, I was entertained. I wanted to see how it ended.
You want to know the tea.
So I get why these bitches have views. Like, I'm not hating on people that consume that content, but it's just like, it's kind of like, we need to just like take a step back and like look at what we're actually fucking doing right now.
Yeah.
Because this is like actually crazy. Do you want to move on to the next poll we asked them? So this next poll we asked you guys was, how do you feel about the Facebook groups? Like, are we dating the same man, and similar group chats? And the results were 47% said, I wouldn't join, but I get it. 37% said, we need them to catch the cheaters. And 16% said, I think they're dumb. I also think they're dumb. I don't think we
they're
needed to catch the cheaters. I don't think we needed to catch the cheaters. I wouldn't join one, but I get it. Maybe, depending on the Facebook group, when it comes to like any SA stuff or like women asking, was this SA? I honestly think that's vital. And I think even though the internet's hard to like do anything, I think that is like, it's still important.
I think Reddit or other groups are better for that though. Like, I don't think joining one of those is the right place for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, but like, yeah, like catch the cheaters. Like, it's like the witch hunt stuff, which is so like, I'm like, even using those terms is so fucking iffy because of the history of Me Too and like women like, you know, trying to get justice for SA and all of those things. But I know. I'm still against it. I think it's like, I don't think it's worth it.
Speak your mind. I'm against it too, honestly. I've never been a part of one. Like, I did request one like for this episode.
Yeah, I joined one for this episode.
But I've had like friends in LA that were like serious about it and like would see someone on Hinge and then like not talk to them. So like it's definitely like the LA one is hopping the fuck as well. Sure.
Yeah. And I've asked, like, I feel like what I've done more like close to this is like, if I see we have mutuals or something, I met this guy out, I met him on Hinge, like whatever, and I see we have mutuals, that's one of my close friends, I'll ask if they know anything about them. But like, I still haven't always used that to like inform my decisions.
That's so different. Like, it's not strangers. It's not accessible to anyone that lives in fucking Atlanta. Like, that's crazy.
And you can post anonymously, but still, it's
okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So next I want to get into like, is this stuff defamation? Like, if you share a picture of a guy, if you share like your history with him, all of those things, is it defamation? So there was this court case that is currently going on right now, and I'll give you guys some tea about it. This is from the Los Angeles Times. The article's titled, "He Claimed 10 Women Defamed Him in Are We Dating the Same Guy Group." So this is in LA. And it says, and then there is the case of Stuart Lucas Murray, who sued a group of women after they talked about him in a private Facebook group, warning others about his bad behavior on dating apps. The lawsuit names as defendants 10 women, but a Los Angeles Superior Court judge recently tossed out the suit against one. Murray vows to pursue the legal squabble. He's a Santa Monica resident, and he said his social status took a hit because of the comments made by women who he claims he have met through dating apps. His June 2023 lawsuit filed in the Los Angeles Superior Court accused the women of defamation and seeks $2 million in damages. He claims sex-based discrimination because he couldn't join the Facebook group. Again, remember, men are allowed to join to respond to the claims made against him and alleges a civil conspiracy. Murray said he was labeled a murderer, and the women accused him of having sexually transmitted infections, according to his complaint. On Monday, this was a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago, Judge Gregory Kiosin dismissed his lawsuit against one woman after she filed an anti-SLAPP motion, which targets lawsuits that seek to censor, intimidate, and silence critics. So I also want to talk a little bit about this video that I watched of like kind of a press conference outside the courtroom where it had some of these women that he accused, and they were seeking legal representation. So this was on Fox 11 Los Angeles. I'll link the YouTube video. So they didn't have legal representation at the time. Again, like, this is going to come out probably when the case has progressed. And I want to say all of these are allegations, just so we don't get into any legal trouble.
Yeah,
but they were
allegations, in my opinion. These are all allegations.
Exactly. So they were without legal representation at the time, but they were calling for it in the media. So that's why they wanted the media there. They wanted someone to represent them, probably pro bono. And many of these women did not even meet this man. Women shared experiences, they said, to keep each other safe, and they are arguing for free speech with this group chat. And one of the women who did meet him shared her story, and she said that it was just a bad date in general. Like, they were asked to wear masks when they showed up to this like restaurant or wherever they were, and he kind of complained about it. He had an issue about wearing the mask on the date, and then he started ranting on about conspiracy theories, about COVID-19 and the pandemic. He also was kind of like looking down on her work, her job, and he was just like arrogant and smug were some words that she used to describe him. And then in another article, one woman shared a story about an exchange she allegedly had with Murray after the two matched on a Tinder app. He insisted on meeting her that evening, but she was busy, according to a screenshot of her comment. Murray allegedly found her Instagram page, tracked her down at a Beverly Hills hotel bar where she was having a business meeting. And then they also want to hold dating apps accountable for removing profiles. And they also said that he was defaming them by calling them losers, criminals, short, and chubby. And then, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit before we get into anything more.
I'm just like shook because I did not know about this like at all. I'm kind of scared to like say anything because holy shit.
It's a lot.
So he like the whole thing started. He was labeled a murderer and the women accused him of having a sexually transmitted infection. But did anyone sleep with him?
Not in the press conference thing outside the court that I saw, and not in this little snippet from the article. It was just that he kind of like showed up at the hotel bar, and like based on all the media from like this case, he does kind of have a history of like showing up places. So apparently one of the women that he sued 50 women total. Even though she didn't like respond to like his sue claims, he showed up at her address. So he went to the home of Kelly Gibbons at 10:45 p.m. and returned days later at 8:45 p.m. She had never met him in person and had only briefly swapped messages with him on a dating app. She says she never gave him her address and doesn't know how he found it. So he was pretty much claiming he went there to like notify her about these legal claims, like whatever. But I will say that is pretty fucking creepy to me and like weird, like definitely crossing a line. Like, I don't know. It's kind of iffy because when I first watched the press conference and the woman was talking about the bad date where he didn't wear the mask and the conspiracy theories, I was kind of thinking like, okay, we've all run into this before on a dating app. I've been on dates with guys that I met online and got there and I've been like, oh, we definitely don't see eye to eye. Like, they are maybe a Trump supporter or they're like veering towards QAnon or like whatever, like not in my views. Wouldn't necessarily say they're an abuser or anything like that. Would not see them again. Okay, so like at first when I saw that clip, I'm like, does she have real claims? Like whatever.
Was it just a bad date?
Was it just a bad date? And like because a lot of the women hadn't met him as well, I was kind of like, But I do think this like intimidation factor of like him showing up at this girl's like business meeting at this bar and then showing up at this other woman's home after he tried to sue her is a little much. So maybe these women like had an intuition about him like that is kind of proving correctly, you know?
Right, because it just seems like we need to think about like who this guy is, like because it's like if someone else showed up, it's like you just have to think about who the person is. That's what makes it fucked up. So if he has this like history of just like showing up places and obviously like Googled this girl's address, like if he's the type to do something like that, then I'm like, okay, well then he is a bad guy, you know? That's kind of like how I feel, but I'm just like 50 women. So all these women were like, he had dated a little bit, messaged a little bit back and forth, and they were all like kind of coming after him.
Yeah, so in the group, because it's like everyone in LA, like I don't know how the thread started. I don't have screenshots of the
but it's like a
thread
huge
itself.
thing on this one guy.
So like someone had posted them like bad exchange, whatever, and then like I guess all of these 50 women were like women that had like commented or something, and like somehow he got a hold of it. You know, and he's claiming like this is defamation, and because he's a man and he wasn't allowed in the group, that like he couldn't defend himself, all of these things. So, and
but
then
it's like think about the type of guy that would go to all these links. Like, it's like maybe a good person would just be like, okay, like 50 women had a bad experience with me. Maybe I need to like do some reflection, move forward, and never bother those women again. To like sue them, like that just like tells me a lot about his character right there as well and the decisions that he's making. So that's like
Like,
this
suing them is kind of crazy because he said his social status took a hit. And I mean, I will say, like, we'll get into doxing and all of that, like, a little bit later. But, like, it is terrifying to find out that you're being talked about online and information is being shared about you in your private dating life. Like, I can't imagine, like, imagine if one of us, like, found out, like, oh, there's this group chat that's talking about this thing that we did. Like, that is scary. So, like, I would argue in some senses it could be, like, a trauma response or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is a lot. But I do think that, like, I was very against it when I first saw it. I was like, these women are doing too much. Like, these groups are, like, way extra. But for him to show up at their houses and, like, some of these stories, I think goes to show, you know, like, women have a keen intuition for men that are weird because of everything that we're put through in regular fucking day society. And it's sometimes hard to, like, explain that or bring it up in, like, a court or anything like that because it is gossip and it's hearsay and it's whatever. But you almost have this feeling because we're so exposed to, like, sexual trauma and all of that stuff. Yeah. It's like, you know?
It's like intuition doesn't matter in a court. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's really tricky, but, like, I'm honestly, and I bet everyone's, like, dying to, like, see kind of what happens. Like, I bet this is being covered on TikTok and, like, all of that. And, like, it does kind of create fear as well that, like, you know, because, like, this is scary. This is scary.
And that's the scary thing because if this, like, defamation proves true or whatever, like, you know, even Johnny Depp and Amber Heard with her, like, essay or whatever about Johnny Depp's abuse, like, it can prevent women from having these whisper networks, which is, again, even further difficult for women to, like, report sexual assault, abuse, all those
and not
things.
Why this group was created. Because I do just kind of feel like, you know, this very much sounds like a man thing to do, and, like, even calling them, like, chubby and stuff, like,
that,
it definitely doesn't seem
stuff
like,
too. We didn't talk about that, but
he's not a good guy. Like, he's calling them losers, criminals. Like, even if, like,
he's defaming them.
Because even if they were being extra and in the wrong, like, a good, like, healthy man, like, still wouldn't handle it by, like, calling them fat. Like, what?
He would, like, don't stoop to their level type of thing, like, whatever. Like, it seems like it's giving misogyny. It's bad on both sides, I think. But, like, I don't know. This guy just seems like such an asshole that I still kind of want to be on the women's side. Whatever. But
that's why we're all about duality. It's never going to be black and white like that.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, we don't know everything. We're not looking these women in the eyes. So it's like we're getting what, you know, the media and the news is also telling us. You have to understand that as well. Like, that is kind of, like, masking it in a way in itself because they don't tell us everything.
Right. And we'll have to see how it plays out in court. Like,
but what do you guys think? Like, please let us know. Comment below what you think about this. I'm, like, again, my first time hearing it at the same time. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. Okay, so going off of that, that is not the only case that comes with these Facebook groups. There's another one, and this is reported on NPR March 11th, I believe, of 2024. So this is even more recent. The last one, I think, was 2023. But pretty much this is an interview between a constitutional law professor at the University of Florida where they talk about Nico D'Ambrosio. He is suing several online platforms and dozens of women. So he's suing the platforms as well, claiming that he was defamed and doxed and that his privacy was invaded. And this happened in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Chicago group. So we're just going to go back and forth, guys. Professor, does the right to free speech protect what is written in these kinds of Facebook groups?
Well, to use the classic lawyer answer, it depends. It really depends on whether people are making false factual assertions that damage reputation or whether they're just expressing their subjective opinions in a way that's not asserting false facts.
Okay, so D'Ambrosio claims that he was called clingy. How does the law determine clingy? Then, how does things get proven when you are clingy?
Well, clingy is clearly an opinion that's not verifiable, not provable in a court of law. He also made some other statements that might come closer to asserting false facts, but a lot of what he seems to be complaining about would fall into the category of protected opinion. One of the hallmarks of opinion is whether you're implying a fact about the person that would tend to damage their reputation. Certainly opinions can damage reputation too, but in order to protect free speech, we let people have their opinions, even if they're misguided.
Right. And people post opinions on products and services all the time. Is that something similar? Could that be argued here?
Yes, it absolutely is. This site is something akin to Yelp for dating. And there have been lawsuits involving all of the different review sites. TripAdvisor, Yelp, they've all been subject to defamation lawsuits based on unpleasant and unfavorable reviews. Of course they have.
So have we seen a case like this before?
Well, as a matter of fact, we have. There was an older app called Don'tDateHimGirl.com. And in 2006, there was a very similar lawsuit by a man who had been criticized very harshly by an ex-dating partner on that site.
Do you know what happened in that case?
Well, all I can find out from that case is that it was ultimately settled, so we don't really...
Yeah, we don't really know. So, then it goes into a further NPR interview, whatever. But I just thought that this was really interesting because I don't have as many facts about what exactly the claims were, but I thought Clingy was kind of hilarious because you guys know we just did an episode on Clingy. Anyone who watches Love is Blind knows that Chelsea was appalled at being called Clingy.
But also, Don'tDateHimGirl.com. That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Hilarious.
That's very 2006, I guess.
Right.
So I'm here for it.
It's kind of cunt. But yeah, I don't have much to say about this because we're going to talk about, should these dating platforms, review sites, kind of like TripAdvisor, Yelp, exist? So we're going to move into the infamous West Elm Caleb. Do you know about West Elm Caleb? You do. Okay. It's a little wishy-washy. Apparently there's 2 Calebs. I don't fucking know. Jesus. But this all can be traced back to Meme Shoe on TikTok. This TikTok was posted in January of 2022, and it had 1.5 million views. So we are going to watch this right now.
I'm going to make a video about this, but I feel like it's my duty as your Asian older sister to warn my New York City girls about this Caleb from West Elm ASAP. So in my recent video, I made a joke to call out this very tall Caleb I went on a date with in New York City, and it kind of went viral, but I kept having girls comment being like, is this the West Elm Caleb? And I'm like, who is this West Elm Caleb? And why do you guys keep asking that? How do you guys all know this guy? I was so confused. But then I get a DM from a Caleb who says he's also very tall, and I click on his bio and it says West Elm Furniture Designer. And I was like, oh my God, is this him? But I ignore him, as queens do. Then I get a girl DM me being like, oh my God, are you talking about the West Elm Caleb? And I'm like, who the hell is he? And can you please explain why there's so many girls commenting about him? So we first confirmed that it is the same Caleb that DM'd me. And I'm like, oh my God, why is he everywhere? And she tells me that they've matched on Hinge before and that they were texting intensely for a while. And he is love bombing her, even though they've never met up before, have not gone on a first date. And I'm like, that is the biggest red flag out of all the red flags. And then, of course, he ghosts her. But the funniest part is this girl sends me a TikTok that another girl made gushing about her Hinge date. And she tells me, she's like, I confirmed using my detective work that this is about West Elm Caleb. And the girl in the video is head over heels, gushing about this guy, and it's so giddy. And I'm like, oh my God, I recognize this girl. That used to be me when I was stupid and naive. And I'm DMing this girl back being like, oh my God, do we tell her? Maybe I am jumping to conclusions because I've only heard one story, but I just feel like love bombing is the gateway red flag to all of the other red flags. And if that many girls are commenting about you on a TikTok, that just doesn't look good. And this is why we need that app I just talked about where we can leave reviews of guys we've dated on Hinge, because then I don't have to make this subtle video trying to warn this girl. I'm just gonna leave it up to the TikTok gods now, and if this video shows up on your For You page and you happen to be dating a West Elm Caleb, consider yourself warned and maybe keep your guard up.
As if dating isn't fucking hard enough, dude. Now it's I'm having a fucking out-of-body experience right now. This is actually insane, PG.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, so they want to make a fucking Yelp for Hinge dates, reviews? as if it's not hard enough. Like, let people grow, let them change. Like, I don't give a fuck about Elm Caleb, but like, that's gonna affect, like, I'm done. I'm dropping out of all of this.
So that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is like, do we need a reviews for people that we've dated on Hinge?
No.
Because I'm like,
no.
I don't think so either. It's making our personal intimate relationships viewed in a capitalistic lens. Like, those are for businesses and places that you spend money.
Like a clothing
complicated
review.
Relationships. Like,
I think it's like everyone, like, we're feeling the power. We're feeling the power of technology. And everyone's trying to fucking build it up to, like, quote unquote, make our lives better. I guarantee you that if there is a Hinge review site, like, every man will be on there because, like, majority of, like, I don't know.
But I'm like,
Gigi.
also, like, I'm not gonna have great reviews. Like, and that's what I also want to talk about. Like, love, she said she's accusing him of love bombing, which is, quote, the biggest red flag of all red flags. And then he eventually ghosted. I have ghosted probably every single
But also,
fucking
love
person.
bombing's the biggest red flag? Are you for real?
It's the gate. She's saying it's the gateway to all other red flags, and it's the biggest of all red flags. Yeah, that was one of my discussion questions I wanted to ask you because I was like, do you believe that?
Fuck no. The biggest red flag is like who they voted for in 2020, like on fucking God. And that still hasn't stopped me
or
from...
like their fucking prison record, like their, like, I don't know, like there's
misogyny, racism. Like, love bombing sucks, and like maybe she's right. Like, maybe it is like a gateway. Like, I don't really think anything does come good with love bombing, but it's like cheating. It's like you get over it. But it's like abuse and like fucking microaggressions, like that shit sits with you forever. So like that's not the biggest red flag.
Like say like it's so
the Hinge review? No!
Like I would have bad reviews. I'd probably have a 1-star
rating. Like, she walked out on me because I had a phobia of escalators.
I left a fucking date. Like, I've ghosted so many people.
I don't know. Like, and I do want to make space for people who have had bad dating experiences, who have been cheating on. Maybe that's the worst trauma they've ever gone through in their lives. I fucking envy you. Yeah. But like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I just think we need to like put it into like a little bit of perspective because like part of dating is learning about people and how to navigate relationships. And maybe you're the problem sometimes. I don't fucking know.
No, but like, I think you fucking nailed it. The biggest fucking problem with this is treating people like this capitalistic shit we have going on, because Hinge, Tinder, they already look like shopping websites. It's already all so superficial with edited fucking Facetune fucking pictures. Yep. And then you're gonna review people based on how they performed in a date. It's like, let's just like think back. It's like these women, like what they're wanting to do is not waste their time, right? They don't want to waste their time. They want to read the guy's reviews, how he was already, instead of figuring it out for themselves. When it comes to sexual assault and predators, I mean, that's a good thing to fucking figure out before you go meet up with a stranger.
Google their records. Still advocate for that.
But in terms of like, you know, it was just a bad date or he didn't want to wear a mask or like whatever. It's like, I don't know. It just like takes away like autonomy and like you're really like jeopardizing like the trajectory of your life, like not choosing
and it dilutes the serious claims. Like it dilutes the real essay,
it's getting
the real
lost.
abuse.
Why
are we lost?
Why did we start this?
Like women are already like told, oh, it's gossip, oh, it's hearsay, oh, it's whatever about real ass claims. So then we're gonna talk about love bombing and we're gonna dilute it more ourselves. Like, you know, like we're missing the point. The plot is gone. We are so far deep.
And again, people eat this shit up on the internet because it's like, oh, Caleb was here. He was in there with this bitch and then he DM'd this bitch. And so it's like this content is going to have a lot of views. And again, people know what they're doing when they post TikToks.
Yeah.
Let's just all remember that.
Exactly. And I think they have the intentions to go viral. But so I want to talk a little bit about this, Caleb. Now, there was some that I read in that Glamour article that talked a little bit about how, like, the Caleb she was referring to was a little bit different than the West Elm Caleb. Like, there's 2 Calebs allegedly, and in the comments you do see women commenting, oh, I've dealt with this Caleb before. Like, apparently he's dealt with numerous women, just like the other guy in the defamation lawsuits, whatever. Personally, I'm not for doxing. I don't give a fuck what Caleb looks like. I don't live in New York. I didn't want to research into that any further.
Can you explain to me what doxing means?
So yes, for those listening who don't know what doxing is or aren't chronically fucking online, doxing is pretty much giving out like their address, like where they work, like giving personal information that kind of like puts them at jeopardy.
Got it.
And everything like that. Yeah. So I want to go into a little bit about doxing and witch hunts. So we're going to talk about Caleb like a little bit. Whichever West Elm Caleb it is, because there's 2. I don't fucking know. And then we're going to talk about a little bit more with doxing in other cases. So this is from the Rolling Stone. The Rolling Stone covered this because it went so fucking viral. And it's called the West Elm Caleb Dating Saga.
Oh my God. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, guys, here we go. I'm still like, I can't, my mind is still on the fucking, what would Khadijah say about that? Like,
I feel like
Khadijah
she has to have had a video essay about this.
Has to. Anyways, okay. In the case of West Elm Caleb, his doxing was swift. Creators who hadn't even gone on dates with him were quick to share screenshots of his profile and even his last name. Of course, since his place of work is part of his widely spread nickname, he has become the target of an online harassment campaign. Now, with his own social pages either hidden or deleted, West Elm's social media comments have instead been filled with anti-Caleb sentiments. The comments are full of jokes as well as cries for the designer to be removed from his job. Many of those informal petitions to dox him have come from the creator's story of getting 2 unsolicited dick pics from West Elm Caleb. Without ever having met him in person, he supposedly ghosted her too. As he did in the stories from these women, Caleb has become a ghost online, if he even had a significant presence to begin with. In less than a week, a person who seems to be a pretty normal 20-something single has become a symbol of something larger, a punching bag meant to represent the billions of brief but bad exes. Those perpetuating an online harassment campaign against him have likely experienced themselves. Wow.
Woo! Wow. And I just want to say, like, unsolicited dick pics are sexual harassment. But in this case, I don't know which creator they're talking about. But what's a little concerning to me is getting 2 unsolicited dick pics from West Elm Caleb without having ever met him in person. Then he supposedly ghosted her too. I'm confused though, because if you didn't want these unsolicited dick pics, why are you being ghosted by him? You know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't you block him? Like, how would he ghost you as well? Like, that it's not lining up for me.
Yep, that's not lining up for me either. No, it is not. I just think, like, we should all just take a good look in the mirror and, like, understand, like what's happening. Like, the fact that West Elm Caleb is in Rolling Stone and like a fucking like phenomenon to be like analyzed, like this shit is crazy, you guys. I think this is why I want to be single and don't want to date. Like, honestly, because this is like, and again, it's like as if it's not hard enough, as if there's not enough like a mass fear in this world. It's like our relationships are like being jeopardized because of like how chronically online we are. How much people are like, it's just terrifying. Fiji.
Yeah, it's bad. And we're going to get into another one. So he's not the only victim, I don't know, like whatever, of this
Couch
doxing witch hunt. You've never heard of Couch Guy? Oh my God. Okay, she's not chronically online as much as I am.
The rest of us.
Yeah. I'm assuming if you guys are watching this, you may have heard of Couch Guy. So, Couch Guy was doxxed as well. This is a little bit different. This is more of an internet sleuthing story versus as much of a like dating experience, whatever. So I found this article written by the couch guy. His real name is Robert McCoy, which he's gone public with now, so it's okay to say it. And he said, "I'm the couch guy. Here's what it was like being investigated on the internet." That's the name of the article. And just for some background, on September 17th, 2021, his long-term girlfriend surprised him. Her friend took a video and posted it 3 days later to her 200 followers, and the video went viral. So the first commenters, Lauren's close friends, had very positive things to say, but soon strangers whom the video was less well received began commenting, criticizing his, I'm going to read it from his person, criticizing my reaction time or my being seated on a couch next to friends who happen to be of the opposite sex. Quote, "Girl, he ain't loyal. Red flag. He didn't get up off the couch and jump up and down in excitement. Bro, if my man was on that couch full of girls, capital letters, I'm walking back out the door." As commenters accusing me of infidelity rolled in, the video quickly became the topic of a fierce online debate, a la the dress. Remember the dress debate? Is it blue and gold, or is it white and gold?
Yeah,
I
ate that shit right up.
Yep. I, an ordinary college sophomore, so he's young, became TikTok's latest meme, couch guy. TikTok users made parody videos. American Eagle advertised a no-effort couch guy Halloween costume, and Rolling Stone, E! Online, The Daily Show, and The View all covered the phenomenon. On TikTok, Lauren's video and the hashtag couch guy, respectively, have received more than 64 million and 1 billion views. While the couch guy meme was lighthearted on its surface, it turned menacing as TikTok users obsessively invaded the lives of Lauren, our friends, and me, people with no previous desires for internet fame, let alone infamy. Would-be sleuths conducted what Trevor Noah jokingly called, quote, "the most intense forensic investigation since the Kennedy assassination," end quote. During my tenure as couch guy, I was the subject of frame-by-frame body language analyses, armchair diagnosis of psychopathy, comparisons to convicted murderers, and general discussions about my bad vibes. Now, I also just want to mention, again, this is a video set to some song where, like, essentially she comes in to surprise him. He's on the couch with these couple of women, and he, like, stands up really quick. People are like, "Oh, my God, he's cheating. Oh, my God, da, da, da." There's been other doxings and similar versions of people who ask specifically not to dox people, such as the "Who the fuck did I marry" TikTok thread. And also Baby Reindeer, which I keep fucking bringing up. I love the show. Beautiful, like, story about, like, how, you know, trauma isn't linear, so healing from trauma isn't linear, whatever. He specifically asked, "Do not dox my stalker." People found her on TikTok, you know, doxed her, like, whatever, put her face out, all of those things. So these are either people who have shared their story because they want to share their story. You know, like, nonfiction has always been a fucking genre. People change names, whatever, like they did in Baby Reindeer. And then this guy, his girlfriend, I forget if it's his girlfriend or his friend, just posted this innocent video to 200 followers, was not looking for any sort of feedback, became internet sleuths insanity. So let's talk about it.
Bitch, I am absolutely speechless. But this is a TikTok thing. Because this didn't happen on Instagram before TikTok was a thing. But frame by frame body language analysis.
Yes, that's the part that got me.
It has TikTok written all fucking over it, because at the end of the day, like, everyone is just way too much online. So essentially, his girlfriend walked into the room, and the way he stood up when she walked in is what made people think
he was sitting
cheating.
next to girls.
Right.
And people were saying, like, "Oh, maybe his arm was around this other girl. Maybe he
Okay, I did know about this. We've talked about this before. I think it's so crazy. I think it's so ass backwards, and I don't know this guy at all, but, like, I kind of do feel bad, honestly.
I feel bad as well, and I feel bad for her too, the girlfriend too, because he said, like, the original comments on the video were people that knew the couple intimately. Like, they were like, oh my God, this is so cute, like whatever, like she surprised him, like da-da-da-da. But the thing about TikTok that, like you said, is different from Instagram is the algorithm and how it's pushed to so many like strangers. It's not like Instagram where it's more just the people you follow. So yeah, I think it comes like these internet sleuths, these true crime people, these people that are so ready to dissect anything. And that is in it of itself an issue. And then the like doxing and in the public court of opinion and everything like that is also an issue. Like I mentioned, like who the fuck did I marry? She shared her story willingly, but said, please don't find him or whatever. Same with Baby Reindeer. So it's this weird dichotomy of like, people are not asking for it and we are intruding. That to me is some sort of abuse.
Right. And I also think like it starts as one thing, but now it's like so far beyond him and like all about this like cheating shit. And like we need to catch the cheaters. We have the Facebook groups. We want a Hinge review site. Like it's not even about him anymore. Like this is very much like
he's a symbol.
Like fixated entertainment. Like, and honestly, that's crazy that it got posted to 200 followers. Like, that's like if we posted a video and it got...
Well, but meanwhile, we're trying to go fucking viral for our content, like, whatever, and it's not.
And again, like, I think capitalism comes into play because, like, these social media platforms are social spaces where, like, things trend, whatever, and then you see things like American Eagle jumps on top of it. Like,
that part, what?
But it makes sense. I mean, they have, like, Gen Z or, like, millennial social media managers that are seeing this trend happen, and they're like, oh, let's capitalize off of this. But it's like, what we're missing in all of this is, like, the humans and, like, their right to privacy. And it's like, what is that line where you, like, share everything to social media? Like, you know, like, are you subject to any of it? I don't know. Like, I think Couch Guy, like, honestly, hearing this article from his own personal, like, opinion was really interesting. And I kind of fuck with him for that. Like, you know, like, at least maybe this is the future of his influencer career. Like, you never fucking know. But I don't know. Caleb disappeared. Couch Guy wrote this article. It's scary.
It's like all this is like exactly what you said. It's like we're taking it too far and not remembering that there's human beings like actually being affected. Same thing with the loyalty test. Like you're not remembering like these are human beings' lives, bro.
Right. Like, and these are people that aren't asking for it, which is like weird.
Which is
like the loyalty testing, at least they're asking for it. But I think that they go hand in hand with so much of this content online. It's like this vicious cycle that feeds each other. Oh my God, he might be cheating. Oh my God, now you're consciously looking out for it. Like, it's a lot.
It's too much, dude.
And I just want to say, too, to any of our followers, listeners, whatever, whoever me and Autumn talk about on here, like, we share our dating experiences, and I've shared things about, like, my abuser, whatever. If any of you ever fucking dox them or any shit like that, like, you're blocked from like, don't do that. And I feel like it's so crazy that people have to fucking say those things. Like, because people like the, who the fuck did I marry and Baby Reindeer, like, they're sharing these stories so people can, like, learn about trauma and learn about, like, I thought Baby Reindeer was super helpful and, like, being like, oh, my experience is not alone. Like, it's what the purpose of it is.
Right.
But when you guys insert yourself and you take something that is meant to be art or meant to be healing in terms of, like, group therapy and turn it into a witch hunt, that is terrifying. Please don't ever do that to us.
Please don't ever do that to us. And don't do that to anyone in general. It's honestly fucking terrifying. The internet scares the shit out of me, dude. And here we are. So.
Here the fuck we are. So, okay, this brings us next into, like, I kind of want to talk about, are these groups echo chambers? So we talked about that it's this vicious cycle. There's a lot going on here. And I want to return to that article that we talked about at the beginning by Maria Verena Peters from the Whisper Networks to #MeToo, framing gender gossip and sexual harassment. And this part specifically is not as much about, like, TikTok and all of these things. It's more about, like, online feminism and trending hashtags like MeToo. Like, you know, when feminism was popularized online, But you want to read it?
Despite the risk and hostility on Twitter, the digital sphere was still largely understood as a relatively safer and easier space to engage in feminist discussions than in participants' offline context. Moreover, we found that experiences of engaging with and developing feminist consciousness online actually created a range of clashes in their everyday relationships with colleagues, family, and friends. The tension between their online feminist community, where they could share views and opinions and get support, contrasted strongly with experiences of dismissal by significant others in their everyday lives. The impression that social media is a safe space may, on one hand, be rooted in the stigmatization of communication among women as gossip in offline social situations, and on the other hand, in the specific demographic of these platforms. As early as 2010, Johanna Blakely pointed out during one of her TED Women talks that the majority of social media platform users were females, and that the amount of time women invested in these platforms daily was much larger than that invested by men. Current statistics on social media used by Gender Pew Research Center show that this is still the case today. I mean, that makes sense, that last part.
So I kind of want to talk about this in terms of, like, these echo chambers, right? Because, like, I think influencers online and social media in general, like gossip, like anything that women dominate gets a certain amount of, like, criticism more than, like, male-dominated spaces. And I think these spaces are really good for, like, blowing up things like Me Too and all of that. But, like, especially with TikTok, where the algorithm is so hyper-focused on, like, what you've been watching, you become in this echo chamber of just other women consuming the same type of content with you, as you, that you forget that this is so public and what the public repercussions of this may become, especially outside of the context of, like, SA and abuse and all of those things. So I don't know, like, when she talks about, like, the line between, like, real life and social media, kind of like what this whole podcast is about, like, where reality and online, like, you know, collide. Like, it's, how do we navigate this?
Yeah, I think it's like what we always say. It's like there is a lot of, like, benefits with social media. Like, it's like the Me Too movement, like, wouldn't have been what it was if there wasn't for social media. Like, we can all agree on that. But I do think that, like, as a society, like, we kind of just, like, ruin things. Like, we have the opportunity, we have the technology and the platforms to, like, make real social change. And, like, a lot of people are doing it. But also we have all of this shit. And it's, like, fucking with our interpersonal lives, which, like, it shouldn't. Like, it's very, like, we should handle, like, social media is different than real life. Like, we all say that. It sounds corny, but it's, like, y'all, like, are forgetting that. And, like, almost treating it like, I don't know, it's like entertainment, but it's like, these are influencers. There's a real human being. It's not a character in your favorite show. Like,
right. Like, the difference between, like, true crime and, like, listening to these stories, like, people who actually research, investigators, da-da-da. But it's like, because, again, the systems are broken, so many women result to, like, these sorts of, like, platforms. And it's like, who is supposed to, like, manage this? Like, it's like, social media is like if you had, like, a whole group of all these people in one room and just saw what the fuck happened. Like, is it up to the platforms to create these guidelines, whatever? And then we get into conversations of, like, TikTok that censors, like, SA and all those things. That's why people use the term grape, like, instead of, like, whatever. Like, and then that becomes... Right. That becomes difficult for people to even, like, seek any sort of, like, healing. Like, it's just so
yeah, they censor the wrong shit constantly. I mean, YouTube demonetizing what's-his-face was great.
Yeah.
We're not saying his name anymore because we kind of think one of our episodes didn't get pushed out as much because we mentioned that motherfucker, so never again.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly scared. I do think it's kind of on the platforms, though, but I also do, like, I think social media is so big, it's kind of an impossible task to make sure it's, like, good all the time. Like, and it's like, this is all human error shit. Like, humans suck, bro, honestly.
And it's like, it gives this, like, false illusion, I think, when we all, like, get together online and we're like advocating for something, like there's this like social justice, this hashtag feminism, like whatever, that like we're really making a change. But like, again, we're at the like subject of these like algorithms and of these greater social media platforms that are run by usually like white men or whatever.
Right.
That can censor things. And then it's like, who's actually escalating it to be like effective in any sort of like court or bigger discourse? Like, when it's situations that like do matter, like those people are necessary to gather people outside of this platform and take it to law and like all of those things. But like in this like mess of us being like, oh my God, we can make real change, we have real activism online, a lot of it being performative, people get like confused about what the fuck activism is, I think.
Right. Because it's changed so much now. Like posting on your Instagram story is not activism. And especially if like your followers are hit too. It's like, it's still good to draw attention to things, but I remember like I always think I'm like, damn, well, it's like I need to post this somewhere else, because like honestly my followers are not like really the problem, like, you know what I mean? At least not yet. But like I know it's like activism looks differently today. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good when it comes to social media and all that, but yeah, it's terrifying.
Okay, so going off of that, I want to play this one TikTok and get a little bit into who should we be scared of, because going back to the very beginning of this episode, we played that TikTok, that viral trend, who would you rather be trapped in a forest with, a man or a bear?
That was
Men
like
are
4 hours
obviously
ago,
scary.
damn.
Right, so fucking long ago. We're circling back. We're bringing it back. I fucking promise. Let's watch this TikTok right now.
Okay.
The fact that more than one girl in my comments has said, oh, hey, by the way, if you're going to start dating in Dallas, make sure you join the Are We Dating the Same Guy Dallas-Fort Worth Facebook page. What? Well, I'm scared. Okay, I moved to a big city. I'm excited to start dating because I'm from the middle of nowhere, small town. Every male there is my cousin, and that's frowned upon. I get here, and you guys are like, oh, yeah, just make sure you join this Facebook group to make sure we're not dating the same guy, but have fun. What? No, this is scary. I'm scared of you guys. I'm not you guys, but the men.
I feel like at the very end when she was like, I'm not scared of you guys, I'm scared of the men.
Yes.
I was like, bitch, are you serious?
Are you sure?
Because I'm not really sure that's who you need to be scared of, maybe in this specific situation. Like when she said that,
I'm so
BG,
happy you feel the same way, because even the way that she said it, she was like, I'm scared. Not of you guys, of the men. Like,
she
it was
caught
almost like
herself.
she was like quick apologizing because girl code, you know.
The whole video, I was like, oh yes, like this girl, like she gets it. She was like, I'm scared, not of you guys, of the men, and then quickly ends the video. I'm like, girl, you're scared of them too. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can say it. It's okay.
But it's like, even how we talk about like in your whole journey and hating men and everything like that, it's like men are the easy fucking scapegoats for everything.
Yeah.
Like with all of this stuff, because patriarchy, because they have been, they are the ones in between, the end to justice, But we're at a place of more privilege. We have bigger voices than we used to have. Men can also be victims of a lot of stuff. And as we talked about in this episode, there's a lot of like fucking male victims as well.
Yeah.
So I want to go into bringing it back again to this article that was in Glamour inside the secret Facebook group where women review men they've dated by Jamie Kahn. Jamie Kahn had like interviewed this person named Dina. Their real name isn't Dina, but that's what they go by, and they're in this Facebook group. And it says, though Dina enjoys being in the group, she has had some reservations. Quote, sometimes you see people posting, if he wanted to, he would, about paying for things or picking you up in an Uber, she says. But I think you run into the problem where it can be this echo chamber of men have been pushing us around for so long, we're going to give it right back, end quote. Dina's comments touch on a common debate. Would Are We Dating the Same Guy be considered appropriate if the sexes were reversed?
No, it wouldn't, bitch.
Interestingly enough, this thought exercise was put to the test when a male-centric group called Are We Dating the Same Girl NYC, which is where the Caleb stuff started, materialized. The Facebook group used the same community guidelines nearly verbatim and even added a disclaimer that the group was directly inspired by its predecessor. But when the original group caught wind of its male counterparts part, an overwhelming number of comments said it was disgusting and unacceptable for men to post photos, screenshot dating profiles, and discuss women in this way. While a few joked that now all of their boyfriends were going to find out about each other, plenty called them incels.
You guys, this is so true. It would never fly to have a fucking "are we dating the same girl?" There's no way. But it's like we think what we do is okay.
It's so fucked because like the power dynamics are clearly there. Like women, it's scarier for us to date men. Not as scary for men to date women. Like I feel like we can all agree to that.
We can all agree on that.
Like men are also, I think, ignorant to a lot of this stuff, and they're also so quick to be like, oh, it's the same for guys, like, oh, da-da-da, which can be very fucking irritating because it minimizes the experiences of women. But at the same time, I think that women are taking on this like patriarchal act of things where like we're mimicking what men do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of finding the empathy and the connection and all of those things and building a greater society, we are becoming them.
Right. Bitch, you're so smart. Like, I just had an aha moment. You really are, bitch. Because I think it's so hard for people to see. And honest to fucking God, before episode 50, Sprinkle, I think I would have been a lot different. I don't hate men the same way that I do anymore, so I am able to like see the light a little bit. And we're not saying that like men suck, like as a gender, like they do. Maybe Fiji doesn't feel this way actually, but inherently, like they're.
Well, I think it's like. I think it's important to use the right language because I'm like, the more that I read and the more that I get into this stuff, like I'm like. It's not men, it's the patriarchy. Was the patriarchy founded by men? Were men in power? Yes. But men are also like, you know, put down and oppressed by this patriarchy too. Just like women are. In different ways and maybe not as much. But when it comes to talking about situations of abuse or anything like that, even cheating, if a girl cheats on a guy, most of his guy friends are going to be like, oh, well, you clearly weren't fucking her right. Oh, well, you did something wrong. Oh, you're being a pussy. Just man up. Like, don't cry about it. Like, whatever. All of that culture is very prevalent. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, it's not, I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's so fucking hard. But I really think that the bottom line is like we need to learn like how to heal and how to like use our voice that's not through the patriarchy and not like doing the same things that like men have done to us. I don't think we will get better as a society if we continue to do so. As much of it as it's fun, I know that it's fun to put down men. I know that it is. I used to get a high off of it in college. Like I felt like incredible, and it's a journey, but like ultimately like realizing that like men are affected as like just they're affected by the patriarchy too. Like they're not like not all men grow up and like want to be demons. Like a lot of them do, but like not all of them. A lot of them don't want to be demons. A lot of them don't. There's a lot of people in this world. Not all of them suck.
And again, like, I keep going back to Baby Reindeer, bro, because I swear you need to watch it. But, like, it's a story of, like, a man's experience with abuse. And, like, it involves, like, a woman predator as well. And, like, a man predator, too. But, like, you know, just because we're women and we have been oppressed in a lot of senses does not mean that we're on this pedestal of, like, angelic, like, away from being predators or abusers as well. And a lot of this stuff that we talked about in this episode, like doxing people, like it's just, I think, you know, the defamation cases, I want to be careful because like it's such a fine line, but I don't think we need to have things break down by gender anymore. Like I think we should be beyond that. We have non-binary people. Gender is a spectrum. It's not working, guys.
Yeah, I know. It's not working. And I still think that I still would rather be alone with a bear than a man, but you can feel that way and also understand.
But would you rather, okay, wait, let me ask this. Would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear, a man, or the Are We Dating the Same Guy group chat?
Probably still the bear, bro.
Right. Same.
I don't want to be with those fools either. No, now I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, okay, but maybe the man though, especially because like we have stripper training. Like I feel like I could like not finesse him for money, but like finesse him for my life.
Like I think
like if he was gonna kill me.
That's what I'm saying. I think we need to.
Okay, maybe it wouldn't be a bear. I don't know anymore.
I think we need to reassess what we define and what the connotations that we put on the word a man in the male population. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I think it's gone too far.
And
like,
I
really do.
And when you say men are trash, all men suck, I don't want to date any men. They all suck. Like, you guys, like, we all want to manifest our dream life, but it's like, that is so detrimental. You're manifesting that, too, and it's like, maybe it starts as kind of a joke, like, oh, yeah, I know, like, men are cool, but, like, a lot of them suck, so it's like, men are trash. But then it's like, you start to believe, like, genuinely, like, you hear the word man, and you kind of throw up a little bit. Yes. It's like, that's really sad, and I get that, like, a lot of men are like horrible and they're abusers, but it's like there are women abusers too, and like it's
right.
just.
And I think we need to be open to believing that there are good men and open to seeing men as whole human beings. Because I think me right now, like I have a man living with me who's a gay man who is one of my very close friends. I have a man that I'm in an intimate relationship with. I have a brother. I have a dad. Like I have men that humanize men for me. So, like, I think we need to all, like, reconsider what we think of when we think of men and open ourselves up to the opportunity that not all men are bad, while still being vigilant in considering that some of these men are bad, just like some women are fucking bad as well.
I'd say we end it right there, bitch. The way you said, while still obsessed. Because it's annoying as it is. It's a fucking yes and conversation. Like this shit, you cannot think about anything black and white. Like at the end of the day, like humans are the root of all evil for sure. But why are we gendering it?
Period.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, that about does it for all of the research, everything about this topic. We're going to quickly, briefly wrap it up with what we are so wet, so dry, and still a little bit confused about the topic because our opinions are subject to change.
Yeah, emphasis on these court cases because we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know the ultimate.
Or maybe have all the info. So
right,
just
all
saying.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are still with us, please drop a comment. I really hope you made it to the end because context is crucial.
Yeah, if you guys are still listening, comment confused under this episode.
So I'll go first. I'm so wet. Honestly, like
I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted. This
You're
is
like
a lot. We took us on a fucking journey, but I'm wet about like not to toot our own horn, stroke our own dick, rub our own clit, but I am wet about our ability to see things as like, you know, in a duality context and like try to bring as much information into the picture as possible. I really hope that people do listen to the whole episode because
we really had a revelation at the end, ho.
Right, I'm saying, but like I think there should be more of this. Like I'm wet about like these types of conversation as opposed to like short form TikTok content where things are just taken out of context and people sleuth. I also am like overall still wet about like Me Too and like the progress that we have made in being in more of a privileged society. That still has a long way to go, but we've come a long way. And I think sometimes we need to like remember that. And I also am wet about us working on our journey and seeing men's humanity because I think that it's helped me a lot in my personal relationships.
Yeah, I definitely like echo all of that. I'm all wet about that as well. I would say I'm really wet / interested to see what Khadijah would say about all of this. Like, genuinely. Yeah. I'm definitely wet about like the couch guy making like that POV article, like you said. Like, I really do like that, like, he was able to kind of like share his side. And like, I'm wet that like there are people out there that aren't chronically in these Facebook groups. Like, I don't think we've lost everyone in society, but like the overwhelming majority is scary. And especially like in our age group and like things like that. Like, those are very much the people online. And even older too and younger. I don't know. It's fucking everyone, bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm wet that like we have come to a point where like we are able to even like discuss these topics like without fear, because like it can be a little bit scary, and like I never want like I'm fucking like my biggest fear is like someone being like, oh, well, they don't believe women, or Autumn doesn't believe women.
Taking us out of context.
But it's like, and that's a fear for a reason, because like I so like incredibly do. Like, it's like such a part of my like fucking identity, like, you know? So I'm just like, but I do think it's important to see all sides. So I'm wet about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm dry about, like, honestly, pretty much everything from this whole, like, episode. It's a lot. Like, I'm dry about the groups in general. I'm dry about the defamation lawsuits, because I think those are fucked up, like, you know, especially when they're targeted towards women. I'm dry about, like, the term gossip and, like, how it's used against women with, like, patriarchy. Also, overall, just dry about breaking things down by the lines of gender, because I feel like it's time to move beyond that. And it's
even
so
though
difficult.
we do that sometimes.
We do it so much. But I think, like, it's hard because, like, by the end of the episode, I feel like we usually bring it to a line where we're, like, provide context and we're, like, we should move beyond it. But, like, we're engaging with these, like, common articles, TikToks, whatever, that are doing it. Engaging in the lines of gender. So it's, like, a little bit iffy. I'm dry about, like, algorithms and echo chambers, dry about doxing, fucking dry about baby reindeer and them. I loved it so much. It was so fucking good. But yeah, dry about a fucking lot in this one.
Yeah, I would say I'm dry about how in general, like, you can have something that like maybe did come with good intention of like these Facebook groups of like trying to protect women and like giving warnings like, this man SA'd me, this man sexually harassed me, and then it turns into like something like the couch guy where you're over analyzing like an innocent person that wasn't even trying to like get attention to himself. I'm so dry about the fucking loyalty testing. Like, that to me is just, I am so dry about that. I'm dry about creators that make money off of it. I'm dry that like it's even an option for people to go to. And like, maybe someone's done it and like it was a good experience for them and they felt empowered. Like, okay. But I just think that like overall it's like that's something that we've come to do because we have the internet now is a little bit fucking toxic and crazy. But yeah, the whole episode was a shit ton of dry. So echo everything you say. You said too. Like,
we're creating an echo chamber in us.
Yeah, ew, stop. Why do I keep saying that?
I am confused. I'm still confused about a lot, honestly, because I'm confused about the law and where these lines go, because I don't think the courts in the political system has been ready for any sort of like social media or any of this stuff. I think in a lot of ways it's so beautiful and that it's like having us reassess all of these systems, but in a lot of ways it's also like dangerous. Like, I almost feel like we need to just fuck the Constitution and write a whole new one, because there's a whole lot like laws of privacy, whatever. I'm also confused a little bit about, okay, like the idea that like some of these are like sub niche internet communities, but they've become mainstream on a platform like TikTok that is like garnered attention through like The View and like Trevor Noah and like NPR and all of that. Like, I still feel like so much of media is sensationalized, but like with it being on a public platform like TikTok, it goes viral for a reason. People are liking it, like whatever. Even us creating this episode, we are drawing more attention to these things and these people that have been doxxed. And like, I realize that in doing that, we might be having more people go view who was doxxed and all of those things, which creates an even bigger fucking paradox. You know what I'm saying? So that is really confusing to me, because I'm like, how do we engage with this media, and I don't know if whistleblow is the right term, but like kind of provide context on how we should like digest it at the same time as not like sensationalizing it.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I think this is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to bring it all back to the fucking mommy fucking TikTokers, okay? It's like, okay. It's so hard because you don't want to draw attention to that stuff. However, I think it's extremely fucking educational when a fucking whole-minded, smart individual comes online like Khadijah, like Kiki channel that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And
like
does draw attention to maybe these controversies and shit. But it's like they're saying like what I feel is true as well. And so it's like, because then even there was like a Mommy and Me TikTok that I loved. I thought they were great. I was like, damn, they're so cute. This is everything. And then I saw this video, and I didn't like follow them that much, so I didn't even know about any of this. But I was like, damn. So I'm like, it is important. And even though it's like she blurred out the kids' faces, like, but granted, it's like people could see that video and go watch that, and it's like the child's being exploited. You're just perpetuating it. But, like, it's important. Like, you need to have the other side online. So it's like, we just have to figure out a way. But for my confused, like, I'll just keep it short and sweet. I'm just confused about girl code in general. Like, I think it's just become so confusing. I don't like the word girl code anymore. And it's just, like, it's sad because I do feel this, like, sisterly bond with like women of the world. Like I get why girl code is
especially being like lesbian, like your mom is like, grew up mostly lesbian. Like I think you know you've been drawn to that, but it's like heterosexual culture is a different fucking culture when it comes to women,
right? And it's just so I know this was all like this is like straight fucking people, you know. And it's scary. But
and it plays into the hetero pessimism of the gender wars and all of that. Like
it's all
I
connected.
hope that everybody like watches all of our other episodes because I think that helps with context and stuff. But
everything's a cause and effect, like literally, that we talk about. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for this episode, guys. And just please follow and subscribe. Like and comment and turn on post notifications on YouTube. We do drop episodes like every Thursday night. Or no, it's midnight on Thursdays Eastern time. So yeah, it's technically Wednesday night. So anyways, guys, we're tired. As I said, we do post polls on Instagram. We're on TikTok. It's all at So Wet So Dry. The O's are zeros.
Also, we do want to spotlight artists and creators and small business owners. If you guys are listening and you have something that you want to promote, DM us or email us, sowetsodry@gmail.com or at sowetsodry on Instagram. We would love to promote your art. Also, at the description at the bottom of every single fucking episode, we have listener support on Spotify. It is the only way that we currently make any sort of money from this fucking podcast because we are both still capitalist 9-to-5 employees. So please, if you feel so inclined, if you love this episode, subscribe with the listener support. We got 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99. Can I get someone, please? Anyway, we love you so much. Thank you for listening. We will catch you in the next episode. Bye.